Taip, tai sveiki visi, ačiū labai už kvietimą.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the invitation to take part in this discussion and to make an introductory presentation. So the key words in our discussion is going to be ensuring and enhancing resilience. So in my introductory presentation, I'd like to speak about 4 topics: climate, energy, skills, and food, and to make an overview of our present situation and further directions that we can see on the national, European, and international scale. Now, let me start from the aspect which was the conclusion of the previous discussion as well. So, the ambitions and strategic goals are not made in order to destroy agriculture, but they intend to preserve what we have so that future generations would have provision of food as well as a clean environment and other necessary things. So, talking about climate, this is the area that I mostly work as regards agriculture. So, climate and agriculture, there are more and more discussions here, and more attention is given to the importance of agriculture here. This year's report presented by IPCC said that all food systems, account for 4% of CO2 emissions on the global scale. So it is obvious that it is highly important to look for solutions as to how emissions in this sector could be reduced. I have taken an illustration from this IPCC report showing that out of 5 most important measures allowing to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, 3 of them belong to the agriculture, forestry, and land use area. So it once again shows the prospects and potential in this sector, as well as the importance here. It was mentioned many times today that at present, the COP27 climate conference is taking place, and discussions on agriculture are becoming ever more important there as well. Another, even more important aspect is that when decisions are made, it is highly important that farmers and other stakeholders take part here. And we are trying to do this in Lithuania as well. As many as 13 meetings of the Working Group of Agriculture and Decarbonization were held this year, and we have discussed various measures there. We've encouraged participants in engaging in the creation of these measures so that sector itself would assume ownership here, so that certain objectives were achieved via the implementation of certain measures. Now, another area is related to financing. I'm not going into details here, but it is important to note that yes, we have certain objectives, certain ambitions, but it is very important to cover it in terms of financing. Currently, financing is not sufficient. There are certain restrictions, the more so that the Common Agricultural Policy has many and diverse goals, not just green goals, and it is very important to coordinate everything. Now, energy. Energy is a key word this year. There are lots of discussions and decisions. This morning, I've listened to the welcoming remarks by our ministers, and Minister of Economy and Innovations spoke about the draft national budget, providing certain measures for economy. But the long-term prospects are also highly important, and we've spoken about energy efficiency, more sustainable use of resources, also certain areas in economy such as solar energy. And it is important to harmonize the production and the efficient use of energy so that these two important areas don't compete together. Another important thing is to make use of one plant for several functions. For instance, a solar plant can be installed and the land could be declared for cattle growing. Now, as regards the development of biomethane production, Repower EU communication by the European Commission says that by 2030, the production of biomethane is going to be increased 10 times, tenfold. And agriculture is highly important here because agriculture could provide a big part of raw material here. And the previous panel spoke about cooperation. So here too, there are lots of synergies between businesses, agriculture, and other areas. Food now. I believe that it is highly important to expand our discussion. Frequently, we are speaking only about the production of food, but consumer is also a highly important stakeholder. Another area is transport and logistics. It is very important to have the holistic view of the food system because that is how we could tackle the rising challenges. Food waste was mentioned here as a topical area which can significantly contribute if we want to tackle problems here related to CO2 emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. Also, speaking about friendlier nutrition, discussions are quite polarized here. So, the more we speak about this, the more compromises and solutions we will find as to how these things can be reconciled in terms of more sustainable production and consumption. Finally, talking about food, let me also mention that the European Commission plans to submit a proposal next year as regards the sustainable food systems framework. So I believe that there is going to be lots of discussions in this regard. Finally, let me also speak about habits. And here I had the basis in the next programming period in the multi-annual program in the CAP, such areas as R&D, and in the previous panel discussion, we had the importance of science and research here as well. It is highly important to focus on new, young farmers engaging in food systems, also farmers choosing more environmentally friendly production. It is highly important to expand the network of independent consultants and to encourage shared learning of farmers because it is highly important to share best practices and encourage transformation. R&D. Lithuania actively participates in various projects, including international projects. AP projects are going to be continued, along with the Horizon Europe projects and missions related to soil specifically. Finally, in conclusion, let me also uh, mention connections, which was also mentioned by the Minister of Agriculture in the morning. We could make separate presentations about each of the blocks that I've outlined here in my presentation. So it is more important to think about all the other elements while discussing one of those areas. We're going to speak and discuss about resilience, and through these synergies, we are going to achieve it. Thank you.